And there we go. Now we're live on Twitch. We totally weren't live earlier on. Did I say live on Twitch? We're live on YouTube.
We're live on everything.
I'm a professional. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Welcome back to another Rapid Ingress. We didn't do the intro this time. Did you get the intro going?
Oh, there is a Rapid Ingress intro.
Yeah, you messed it up.
I should have seen on the scenes over there.
Do it over.
Do it over? Want me to go do it?
And then we'll just cut this part out. Okay.
That's called S tier.
They are definitely open.
Rapid Ingress.
There we go.
Now we're live.
It's the real live. You guys got to see extra. That's not going to be there later.
Well, Twitch saw a lot of it. They saw me drinking and eating cookies behind the scenes. Another Rapid Ingress. Another live Rapid Ingress. The last time we always do recorded Rapid Ingresses. You're not in the studio. I'm not in the studio. But the last time we did this, we had a rule that because it's live, as a little bonus to people tuning in, we go a little bit past the the timer. We talk a little more about subjects, and it went right to members last time. So hopefully more people get to see this Rapid Ingress episode, the live one, because we usually send it right to members. This one maybe we'll keep live, but yeah, you went to a tournament this weekend.
I went to a GT
before we start.
Yep. Well, the GT, it was very small, but it was fun. It was RT like RTT membership level, but there were a lot of good players.
Yes.
My first day did not go well. You saw.
Yeah, I tuned in and I saw you. I thought you were gonna win the, a couple of those, but you who did you play first?
First was against Gene Cult. His name's Gabe, and he's a good Gene Cult player.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
a lot of bodies. There's two things I learned with the list I took at that tournament. I didn't have enough anti-tank power, and I didn't have enough horde power, which means if I fought either one of those, I kind of lost.
I do hear your Discord pings, by the way. Just so
because for some reason Discord's not on streamer mode.
Streamer mode is on Zoomer mode. You played. You played some other matches that day. I guess
the second game was against four Norn, Norn Queens or Norn Emissaries. 2 Norn Emissaries, 2 Norn Assimilators. And that's where I learned I didn't have enough anti-tank. I killed 2 Norns in, the first 2 turns. And then he just killed my tanks, and I couldn't deal with them anymore.
True. And then day 2 went a little better for you. You kind of leveled that out there. But it happens. Sometimes at GTs, you kind of learn a lot about... especially because we've been playing so much WTC. It is a little bit of an adjustment to go into the GW terrain because it's a lot more wide open. So... you got to change your style up a little bit.
I did learn more going 0-3 the first day than if I went 2-1 and then lost the next 2 games.
You always learn more when you lose. Absolutely. You'll learn. But anyways,
I'm gonna go put on Do Not Disturb.
Let's get on to the Rapid Ingress episode. The first subject just happened. We were supposed to go. We couldn't go because
things came up. Couldn't go anymore.
Things came up. I couldn't even go. I couldn't even come up to the GT at X Planet anymore because my army, half of it was I couldn't get some models, and I asked Lionel if I could proxy, and he's like, "No, we can't do that at a GT." And I said, "I don't disagree with that," so I couldn't go out to that one. But you did. You went. You had fun. Let's talk about Adepticon. That's the first one.
Yep. First up is Adepticon. I watched some of the games from War Games Live and Games Workshop's streams. It was very fun. The reveals. You play Space Wolves, right?
Yeah.
So you're probably on this the side of Space Wolves, where it's an amazing reveal. It's the best reveal they've ever done. It's so good. And then there's a lot of other people where they're like, wow, that reveal was just subpar. They didn't show off much. For the Summer of Chaos, they're not getting much. So you're. It seems like everyone's on one side right now. You either love the reveals or you really hate them.
I don't think that's all the reveal for Summer of Chaos, so I think there's going to be more stuff coming with that.
Apparently, they're showing off more Space Wolves in the future. They didn't say anything about Chaos. More Space Wolves.
I think Chaos will get more stuff. I think Chaos will get more stuff. They also released a lot of Slanesh stuff, so you were getting a lot of not World Eaters.
Emperor's Children. They're getting
Emperor's Children.
12 new kits.
Yeah, so there's a lot of Emperor's Children coming, and of course the big guy, right? The big
Fulgrim.
Demon Primarch Fulgrim that everybody's been waiting for. That's a big release.
Are you
for
gonna get the
summer,
30K
so.
version of Fulgrim though, or are you gonna get the 40K?
No, 40K, 100%.
30K one looks so
I
good.
It's so small, like
Is
compared
it?
to the scale of the yeah. It's small compared to the 40K scale. Yeah, a little bit smaller.
For the tournament
It's nice. They're both
itself,
nice.
what's it called? The tournament went well. Apparently, the last game has not controversy around it, just a little bit of what happened there. Like, did you know they did when they did top 32? They then just went, if you win, you go to the next round. If you lose, you're out. So there
Yes,
were
I
some
saw
people
that.
who weren't 6-0 in the top 32, and then they just kept
Mhm.
winning after that.
Yeah.
But that's not the thing. It was the final game between Space Marines and Eldar. Talk about Eldar more later. You could already see it there because they timed out. They actually did time out. For some reason, people are like, "Oh, why were they playing so slow? Their deployment was super long."
Mhm.
I don't really blame them for it because it's their 12th game in 3 days. Your brain is going to be fried, especially when your last 4 or 5, maybe even 8 games are against some of the top players there. Like,
It is tiring. You just have to. It's part like, you know. Let me just bring this up because I bring it up with you all the time when we play GTS and these big events. You have to. Your body gets worn down as well. People think like, oh, you're playing with toys, and it's like, dude, your body breaks down in a GT slowly, slowly. You're leaning over a table all day long, like literally 12 hours. You're leaning over. You're pulling models. When you can try to sit. Like I understand you want to be involved in what's going on, but like when you have an opportunity to sit in a 40K game, like when a guy's maybe doing a deep strike or something that you don't really have to be so focused, sit as much as possible. Get your back rested up. When you're in between games, kind of give yourself a mental break, drink water, eat properly. Like it kind of made, like we were talking about like race car drivers, how like it's not really a sport, but how in shape race car drivers have to be. I'm not comparing 40K players to race car drivers, but
imagine.
you literally have to take care of yourself during a GT because you can kind of break down a little bit and that will affect your level of play if you're like, I don't even give a shit. I don't want to be here anymore because my back hurts and I'm hungry and I have a headache because I haven't been drinking properly. And so you do have to take care of yourself, and that's part of it. Like when guys mental fatigue starts kicking in, could be because they're not sleeping properly. You are on the road and you're like, at an event, especially LVO, you go drinking after with buddies. It can really affect your next day. So taking shit like that into account is really important at those events. But yeah, it does happen. Fatigue's gonna kick in, especially when you're playing a game like 40K. 8 games, 6 games in, you're kind of like you do have to kind of hyper focus yourself because you start wearing down. It's part of it.
They
That's
wish it was 8 games because it was 12 games, I think.
I know by the end of it,
Like,
but only the people in the finals.
yeah.
12.
But those are the people like that are going to be brutal at the end. Did I lose Claudio? I guess it's just me now. Oh, there we go. You're back.
That cut out for a bit. I think it was Rogers being Rogers.
Oh, don't you know the saying about Rogers?
Yeah, paste it.
Not here.
Copy
A little too
paste.
spicy.
Yeah, but end of the timer here. But I'll just put one more point there, like you were saying. Timing out at a GT is not the end of the world, but you do like it's good to play with a clock and get ready. Like we were practicing with the clock in our last few games there before the GT, and it's good to know, how fast you need to do your shooting phase, how fast how fast you need to deploy, because just seeing how your army functions, like that all comes with in the practice rounds with your army. And I don't want to sound like mean, but usually the people that are not at that level aren't doing that, and they don't have to worry too much because by third day they're not even there. So it's really rare to see on day 3 finals. It's usually like very elite players, especially the major GTs, the super major GTs. You see like really top players there, and you don't really see timeouts. It doesn't happen very often. So when you see that at Adepticon, it's kind of like, what happened?
Well, especially because
I
the
did see a
Eldar
list
player,
I liked.
I think 6 or 7 games in a row they got 100 points. Then like 3
Yeah.
games they didn't get 100 in the final, but they got like 90s. Then in the final game
Yeah.
they got 58.
Well, you time out. That's going to happen very fast.
Hey, VTS.
We got VTS.
What do you mean the best show? Question mark. Exclamation point. It is the best show.
On YouTube and Twitch now.
And Twitch now, yeah.
Best 40K show. All right, let's move off. So overall, Adepticon was pretty good, I think. It was pretty positive reviews. No cheaters.
No
usually
known
we
cheaters.
have like we usually have a big scandal at the end of one of these super majors. Somebody did something, but I didn't hear anything in this one, so it was pretty clean, I heard.
Yeah, and no bad stories this time.
It's good to hear. Yep, good to hear. On to the next one is Demons. What about Demons? Marcello was saying it's controversial.
He's saying controversial. Well, you know what happened a bit. You play Demons, you have at least mostly Khorne and Tzeentch. I think a bit of Nurgle. But they're not getting it's finally confirmed they're not getting a codex this edition at all. They're getting all folded into their like god armies, and the ones that don't fit in the 4 gods are going to Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah, we heard we knew that though. We knew that was going to happen.
I think people were less pissed off than they would have been usually because we've effectively had almost like a year and a half to mentally prepare for it.
I would for this subject, I was thinking Demons are good.
Well, we can talk about that too because at Adepticon there was 4 in the top 16. I was going to bring that up as well.
Like, you don't need a codex if they're doing they're still gonna get to play. You can still play as Demons.
You're
just gonna have to.
All this is Adepticon.
You're not gonna get a codex.
We're confirmed no codex. They have They had really interesting lists at Adepticon, and they got a bunch of changes with the no codex announcement. You saw a bunch of changes with Nurgle.
You can still play Chaos Demons.
Yeah.
You're just not gonna get a codex. You're gonna have to play through the
either index
the updates you get. Yeah, index. Or you play with the Space Marine adjacent army that you can use your Demons with, but you can still play with the index Demons. It's really good. I hope they update at least detachments for Demons players. If they're not going to give them a full out codex, give new detachments and some new stuff, and that's good enough for me.
They already have 8 detachments.
Yeah, but I'm saying in the future, like if you're going to get new mission packs and things like that, they should keep them up to date at least because. Some of these detachments are going to be trash in the next update.
A lot of them already are. But for Adepticon, the tournament, there was just a lot of interesting Demons lists. 4 in the top 16. It was basically 3 lists with one being a variation. Like one list, and me and Justin were like just sitting down and we got engrossed in the game of Demons versus Grey Knights because it was Be'lakor, 3 Bloodthirsters, Scarbrand, 3 Beasts of Nurgle, and 2 Skull Cannons. And once it clicked in my head what he was doing, I'm like, oh my god, that's genius, risky as hell, and very funny. Basically, 6-inch deep strikes and charging, and if he makes all the charges, the enemy is really screwed because it's Bloodthirsters.
It's good. I just don't think you have. I think you have a lot of like counters that could go into that.
He made it to like top 8, I think.
He did well, yeah, but I mean. Mathematically, he should be all right. Did he give 1 scout and then 1 the uppy downy?
He gave 1 the blade, and I think that was it. Blade of Asgore or something.
He didn't give 1 Bloodthirster uppy downy? Every time he kills a unit, he goes back into space?
I don't remember, but I could believe it that he did. Another list was just like...
a lot of MSU spam. There was a lot of MSU spam with Demons because they're taking in Chaos with them, so they're bringing Chaos... They're bringing the cultists, and then they're bringing a cursed cultist, and then they're bringing your cultist leaders there. What are they called? The
ACDC, a cursed cultist with the demon pack? What are they called?
No, not demon. The frick, it's on the tip of my tongue. The unit that attaches to them, the 5-man unit, the accursed.
Dark Commune. That's what
the Dark Commune. Yeah, so the Dark Commune goes with them, and
it was index demons. That's why I know.
Havocs are really good right now. So you saw some people taking Havocs. There's a lot of different lists. So a lot of Chaos Demons lists are very different.
I just thought it was very cool just to see variations. It's not like, say, Space Marines or something where you keep seeing a lot of the same list again and again. It was 4 lists, top 16 with 3 unique styles. And I just think that's really awesome, especially with kind of the gut punch Demon players got.
At the end of the day, that's where they're going to go with it. You still can use your demons. It's going to be a little bit different. It's a different flavor, but I think it's good. And again, you can still use demons. It's just going to be index demons. And then, like I said, if they keep updating them, if they keep giving you detachments as time goes on, like throw out a couple new detachments every 5 or 6 months or whatever they want to do, I think I'm fine with that. They don't need a specific codex for demons to function like a good army. But I do think demons are super strong. I think a few things got better. Nurgle, I think, got better. Some of the stuff is really fun you can do with Nurgle.
A lot of annoying changes.
Corn plus advance in charge on everything is amazing with the new detachment. Bellicor is very usable again. You have to use them for that detachment. But you can't take epic heroes in there. So you can't take Abaddon and you can't take that kind of stuff when you bring in your allied units. But it's okay. There's still, you can do a lot of different things. Hopefully the MSU spam starts to calm down a little bit. You see a bit more bigger things on the table because it's fun to see both, not just a bunch of.
I just don't want to see it to go the other way where it's like, because I saw the post on our server with someone going 6 Norns. I'm like, I don't want to see that. Like,
you can take 6 Norns if you want.
6 Norns, 6 Rogel Dorns. I don't want to see that either.
You saw at your tournament, you saw Dreamer take that was a pretty big orc skew list. So
he took a Stompa and 2 of the Titans, or Knights.
Yeah. And if one of those go down, if especially the Stompa goes down, it's GG.
Oh, yeah, that's half his army.
That's 800 points. So people want to play like that, go for it. I mean, it's their style of play as long as they know what they're doing and they have a good time. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
On to the next subject is
Eldar
are fine.
Turns out Eldar are actually fine. They didn't win Adepticon. Exactly. They didn't storm the top tables, pissing everyone off. Turns out when you actually know how to fight them, they're not the worst. It's basically exactly what you said, where they're just squishy as shit.
No, it's really good players play Eldar. If you go watch the X Planet GT, Diogo came in second place. He's a great Eldar player. Yeah, when good Eldar player play Eldar, they're good, and the army's very annoying. But I was listening to people say Eldar are the most broken thing for 3 months, and I would just roll my eyes and just they're like, oh, they're going to get nerfed. And I kept saying, they're not going to get nerfed. They're not going to get nerfed. And the nerf hammer comes out and Eldar got a nothing. Basically, one guy got nerfed in the army.
Some slight point.
Which he deserved it. Yeah. And then a little point. I mean, Fire Dragons, I still think are absurd for their point cost. They're insane. Like, one unit can down a Stompa. It's insane.
That is not right. Yeah.
So for 110, I say, yes, if they went up to 130 even, I would still be like, yeah, okay, well deserved. But in general, the list people are really complaining about is Yanid. Obviously, the Yunari list because of all the reaction that they can do, and especially because they get the extra surging into you, and it's bad enough that they could move and react so much on your turn, but now they can even engage you in combat. And especially with Yinkarn coming in and she can blink to a spot and then screw you over. It is annoying, but that's what they need. Like, Eldar needs some shenanigans because they're literally paper. And once they're exposed, if you have proper lines on them, you can delete an Eldar army very, very quickly if they're not positioned very, very well.
I think they have a similar problem to, say, Orks, where it's just they might be a little too cheap. Maybe a few more points increases, not just Fire Dragons. I see more Warp Spiders than Fire Dragon.
Warp Spiders are in a good spot. Like, remember, they're 95 points. They lost devs. They don't really do a lot of damage into. You can't go into tanks with them anymore and do mortal wounds. They're kind of just going to destroy infantry units. And there's no rerolls on them. You're auto hitting. Yes, they're flamers. They're 12-inch flamers. The movement of them is amazing. They can do a lot of your shenanigans and do your actions. But without the mortal wound stuff, like what's the reason for them to go to 110 or something like that?
I'd say at least 100, just because they basically win the secondary game on their own almost. Any secondary you draw, they instantly do.
Fine, that's fine. Make them 100. That's 5 more points. I'm fine with that. That's what they used to be. It just makes no sense that they were 100 points before, and then you take dev wounds away from them, and they're still 100 points. It's kind of stupid to do that to them. So
Didn't they
I
gain
think
some
the
other
5
weapons?
point, huh?
Didn't they gain like some weapons on the Dark?
Not enough to go up. Like they're not.
And
It gets one more weapon. Like if you want to take that 6-inch flamer, but there's no point. Or if you're doing the close combat version, but why would you do that?
maybe it
take the
just means they
regular
were just too undercosted in the index.
I don't think so.
No?
They were in a good spot. 100 points for them. I think the mortal wounds is what people were saying was broken, and that went away.
Yeah.
They went down 5 points. Shut up.
To me,
Leave
it's
them
just
alone.
if I consistently see 3 of them in a lot of lists, they're probably undercosted.
No, the reason you take them is not because they're undercosted. It's because if warp spiders were 105 points, you're still going to see 3 units of warp spiders, even if you make them 10 points more per unit. They're so good at doing secondaries. They're so mobile. 24-inch blink, and you can just go through walls and shit. It is amazing. It's like, look how hard people were. What army was it that we were watching? We were watching when I played against Adel. Look how hard it was for him to do some of the secondaries. He could only do 1 containment, and because I killed some of his scoring units that he didn't want. He didn't want to put tanks there to go do containment, which is reasonable. He could all his little guys were gone, so he got screwed. You never have that issue with Eldar. You can either throw out your warlock on a bike. You can throw out anybody can go there for you and just blink over
Warlock,
there.
yeah,
So,
warp spiders, guy runners.
yeah, it's auto scoring. Same with Thousand Suns. They kind of have that same ability where they can just double move, get to where they need to, and score secondaries really easily. But that's how that army functions. What's the takeaway from that? They get deleted really fast if they're in bad position. If you position badly with Eldar, you have no chance of winning. 0 chance of winning with Eldar. And if you're not outthinking your opponent, it's like chess playing Eldar. You got to think where your next move's going to be, and you can't. If your opponent's already outthinking that, you're done. Because see how Justin tried to bait the Incarn to that area, but I just wouldn't go. I held him back until turn 4. If you fall for those kinds of things with Eldar, you not even your toughest unit, which is the Incarn in that army, could survive anymore because she doesn't have damage. So 4-up invuln can get you pretty far, but not when you're taking shots from 2 tanks that do D6 plus 1 damage. It's going to take a couple shots going through, and it's GG for that girl. So
It does remind me a lot of chess.
cagey. You got to be cagey with Eldar. They're fun to play, and they can be extremely non-interactive, which can make your opponent feel annoyed. But early on, people saying Eldar being broken, it's just not true. You just don't know how to fight against them. Like I was talking with Lucas himself. He was like, "Oh, Eldar are the most broken thing." They really weren't. And we'll get to another army, which I from the beginning was saying when I saw that Orks Codex, when that Orks update came, I said Orks are not broken. Just give it a couple months, like give it a month.
What are the odds we get this twice
better
on the same list, right?
Because it's just not only the math, but it's like you can just see like, okay, this is good, but people are not used to it. And the current meta Orks we're going into, we'll talk about it when we get there. Let's go to the next one. Oath of the Moment first.
This one is more for me, just how annoying it is because they did fix it to have like, you're not going to have bloodless angels anymore. No more bloodless angels.
Before we go forward, are Eldar fine? Do you agree with me now?
Mostly. I'd say 90% fine.
99% fine.
98.
Okay, that's good.
Anyway, yes,
that means it's not getting nerfed.
Very annoying to me. It's still just, it's the free hit rolls. I don't even care about the +1 to wound anymore. It's still just the reroll hit rolls that makes, because Space Marines already hit so well, and they just get free rerolls. We're still seeing it, and it's especially Guilliman and Calgar everywhere, because Double Oath is so good because the damage is creeping up again. I don't want the damage creeping up again. It's just, because now you have Calgar giving you the extra CP. Space Marines are doing 5 CP a turn with just 2 targets that are guaranteed dead no matter what. It's just so annoying.
The stuff with Guilliman is really, really dumb. Like, Oath of the Moment for me, I did go against you before. When you said nerf Oath of the Moment, I was like, the last time we did this was a couple of months ago. And I said, I just leave them alone. Space Marines need some help. Space Marines are a little too overtuned in that sense that you can really go for a skew shooty list, and it's a little too much. It just feels like it's a little too much with reroll everything, +1 to wound, and then you can even use the combi lieutenant and mark reroll ones to wound. It becomes in a perfect situation a little bit too much. And
96% accuracy, 96% accuracy to wound. Then it could be high AP, high damage. Then you get a second oath target, and you can just nuke a big guy, nuke another big guy.
Mortals, they're doing mortals with some of their weapons.
Sustained, lethal.
They're getting sustained on 5-ups in the Iron Hands detachment. Like it's too much, and there's too many rerolls. It's just, I thought rerolls were supposed to leave the game. It's like when you're playing Space Marines, it's like I reroll this and I reroll that, and oh, this guy's my oath and he's dead, and now I get to reroll everything against this other unit, and it just feels like too much. And I think I agree now.
We kind of have some
Space
proof
Marines
of it.
Very well.
You saw who won Adepticon, right?
Yeah.
Gladius won it, which people thought Gladius was out for the count for a while, especially because of Bloodless Angels. No. But no, Gladius won the tournament. Mostly through a timeout, but he made it there.
This is GW.
It is GW terrain, which puts a wrench in the plan, but GW terrain is becoming more common, which is going to make shooting a little...
Remember, Space Marines are not this good in WTC.
Yes, and Space Marines...
It can't run the same list.
If you look at the stats, Space Marines are still like not doing that great. I think they're pretty like 50% on win rate, give or take a bit. It's just Space Marines have a lot of players, so the good if they get buffed again, the good players just take another like rocket up in how much they can do.
Stop looking at stat check, honestly.
It's not even that. I haven't looked at stat check in a while. It's just people will go, why would you nerf Oath of the Moment? 40k or Space Marines have 46% win rate. Yeah, but it's just so annoying. It's not fun to fight.
It's all bullshit. It's all bullcrap stats, like all that elo and all this. It's like, you can tell when you play the game this much, you can tell when something's overtuned. I don't need to go see the win rates of some random player that played it in some crappy GT and he won. There were 7 Orks players that won a GT in Memphis. Who cares? I want to see what happens over a long period of time. And I can see myself when I see an army playing into 5-6 different armies, what it does. Just like people crying about Orks, they're not that good. I've piloted them many times now, like 12 times. Yes, they have some things that are broken, but I can say that about every single army in the game. There's something in every army that is really, really, really strong, like Fire Dragons. That's ridiculous. They can down a 30-point model without blinking on a consistent basis. Gene Stealers are ridiculous. They can reroll like everything. They hit on 2s. They do mortal wounds. They do all this, like that Lucas's army. What are you gonna do? Every army's gonna have something, but I feel like you were saying with Space Marines, why is that timer starting so late?
It started again because I typed into chat +1.
Oh damn! So we have 4 more minutes on this one.
Oh yeah, yeah. I could go for another 4 minutes on Oath of the Moment.
No, Space Marines. The Space Marines have such good shooting already. You don't need all these buffs. Also, it's before I make you make your point, because I know you hate it a lot. I don't hate Oath of the Moment. I think it's a little overtuned, especially for GW terrain, and it's just you're forcing people to take. You're going to see the same lists over and over because we know exactly what units you're going to see in this type of detachment. With all this, you're going to see Gilliman in every list. Was there Gilliman in the Gladius detachment?
Of course.
Yes. So you're going to see him. You're going to see one of those. What do they call the triple Predator? Or are they doing the triple Vindicator now? What are they doing?
I think it was double Vindicator and 3 Ballistas. I'd have to go look up the list.
Yeah, the Ballistas, and then what's the other one? The Reaper Executioner?
No, I don't think it had that.
Really? That one's good for MSU. But either way, you're just going to see a lot of the same builds, and that's what happens when something's overtuned. The first thing you can tell is, like with Orks, the one thing you were telling was you're going to see 3 tank bustas, you're going to see 3 what are they called? Ludas. And then that's where you kind of start sensing, well, everybody's taking these units, they must be that good. But it doesn't necessarily mean that unless you're winning tournaments. And Orks haven't really done anything in the last 4 GTs. They weren't even in the top 10 in this one, right?
I think think they did. I don't think they made it to top 8, but they might have got the top 10.
Okay. I mean, you're gonna have one, but Orks.
There were 3 or 4 in
talk
top
about it.
16. I think 3.
That's fine. How many Space Marines were in top 15?
1, 2 maybe?
That's it?
Yeah, not as many as you think.
So a lot of Demons?
Yeah, there were 4 Demons in top 16.
Yeah.
That
So
was funny.
Demons.
That was just funny.
And no Eldar up there, so you see?
Sorry, it's another bug I noticed.
So you think Oath of the Moment, the question I want to ask before we move on, what do you want Oath of the Moment to be? You want to go back to the old Oath, just reroll hits?
I don't even care about the +1 to wound too much. It's the reroll hit roll.
I feel that's broken.
To me, it's the reroll hit roll because they can just get sustained, lethal. They can get +1 to hit, or they hit on 2s natively with some guys for 96% accuracy rate. I get it. It's bad luck protection, but it's like
Poster boys.
instead of you don't live with the dice with Space Marines, you just force the dice to be what you want.
Yeah. The +1 to wound. How do you not feel that? How do you feel that that's like?
It's annoying, yeah, but I didn't like Oath of Moment even before the +1 to wound.
Reroll everything and then +1 to wound. That's nuts. That's like, think about it. The combo you would need to do. Like, is there anything in the game that can even get you that combo? Like reroll
Probably.
everything to hit. And
There's
then
probably
+1
some
to
stuff
wound?
that
What?
lets you get reroll hit roll and reroll wound roll.
But not +1 to wound, because Space Marines can get reroll everything to hit, reroll ones to wound in like perfect situation, and then +1 to wound.
Can Marines take that vehicle that gives +1 to wound? They could have got it already before.
The flyer, you can do that, but it's only against vehicles and monsters.
That's mostly what you want to use it against.
So Oath is like, you pick anything and then
Oath is just the gravy on top of a really annoying cake.
Yeah, and we have Magic D-Nut on Twitter. He's saying it's broken. A lot of people feel like that, and I think we have to retool something with it. I agree. Before I was kind of like leave Space Marines alone. Leave Space Marines alone, but now I'm more along the lines of it's got to be retooled slightly.
It's just
get rid of the +1 damage, +1 to wound that's not needed.
+1 to hit, I don't think would be too bad because you have to live with the ones.
Yeah.
And you don't get free rerolls for like baiting lethals and sustained and crit on 5. It's just, I don't know what else you do too much because Space Marine is such a wide faction of good players play it and like bad players play it.
Too much rerolling with Space Marines, period. And if you play Iron Hands, then it's like, I get my 1 reroll here and I get my 1 reroll to wound and I get that. It feels like you're playing Eldar that have, the old Eldar that get Oath of the Moment as well, twice.
And I nuked that one, so I get it on the next target as well.
Yeah, it's a little insane. They got to change that just because I want to see more variety of Space Marines. But anyways, moving on to Sisters. The Sisters got buffed. They
did get buffed. They did get buffed. They changed Miracle Dice back to previous, where they now generate every time a unit dies instead of once per phase. And I believe they got some points drops. But would you be surprised when I say that did almost nothing to fix Sisters? They are still very unpopular to play right now. They're still not fun to play. And that's because they basically went back to pre-Miracle Dice nerf, except for one change. Bringers of the Flame still didn't get their changes reverted. And that was the one Sisters detachment that was carrying the entire faction.
Yes.
So with just Bringers of the Flame nerfed, like, great, you're back to how you were before, except now, what are you going to take? Miracle, if you take the Miracle detachment, you're still a bit expensive, and you have to rely on getting good Miracle dice. If you're going to play Pentian Host, that's overcosted because GW's afraid of Repenchas, what are you going to take?
I don't know. I mean, like, were Miracle dice in the beginning, where they kind of like, was that the thing that was broken with Sisters? It was more the points, right? They were undercosted.
It was was definitely the Miracle dice because Catherine being as assured as she was.
Yeah.
It's like I every turn get 2 6s effectively or more depending on what you do, and oh wow, that Melta went through 6 damage. That's the annoying part.
I mean, and so what What did they get buffed with? Just that?
They just went back to pre-Miracle Dice nerf. That's it. But Bringers of the Flame is still shit. And that was the one good detachment. Yeah. Basically, it's... Remember when GW said they were reworking Miracle Dice at the same time as Strands of Fate? Where is it? Mm-hmm. Where the hell is it? We need it. I want to play Sisters again. They're fun. They're cool. Their aesthetic is great. But what am I supposed to do? If I wanted to play them at, say, Marco's store, I would have to play like tournament mode to get an average score.
I don't think they're that bad.
They're bad.
They're not that bad. They have some strong units. You just have to be. They're not going to compete with the top armies, obviously. But
I know you don't like the stat stuff too much, but they're below a 40% win rate on stat check.
Big deal.
That is bad.
I know, but again, like you just said, who's playing them right now? There's way better armies right now. So like,
there's no incentive to play them because it's just not fun to play them, and it's not fun to fight them because of Miracle Dice.
The only time I'll take stats like that serious is if here's an example. I'll just give you an example. I'm just going to use Skari as an example because everybody knows who Skari is. He plays Drukhari, right? Most of the time, 90% of the time at tournaments, he's going to play Drukhari, whether they're good or bad. If I get a player of that level and he's playing a shitty, what's known as a shitty Drukhari rendition of a codex at that moment, and what he's doing at that moment with them will tell you a lot about Drukhari, right? But if I go and just take random Drukhari players all over the place and, they're all getting crushed, and while the army's crap or considered to be crap, could it just be players that don't have other armies? Like it's guys going to tournaments that don't have other armies to play and they're playing a crappy Drukhari list and they don't really know how to play the army and they're just losing a lot.
But where are the well-known Sisters
Skari when Drukhari are good?
Where's the Skari of Sisters?
The thing is, a lot of competitive players will switch. Like, you see Nick do it all the time. He plays Necrons as well. When Guard goes down, he goes and plays Necrons. When, all of us do it. All the top players do that. They don't just have one army. Some go with one army, but it's rare. Like, you see Nick Nanavati. You see all the guys from Art of War. They have multiple armies they play because to have a realistic shot at winning a tournament, if that's your goal, I want to go win a super major, you're not going to go in to freaking LVO with Sisters right now because you're going to have no chance. I don't care who you are playing that list. You're not going to win. So they don't bother. Those top players don't bother taking armies like that. So the stats you're seeing are from, I don't want to call them regular players, but like just guys that are playing the game or just, good players. They might be tournament players, but they're not that level of player. And then you're seeing more skew with, when something's broken, like you're going to have a win rate of 80 and 90%, like with Space Clowns. Like it doesn't matter who's playing that list, they're going to win. That's a different story. But like, just because an army right now is not, people are saying it's not that good and it's not being played as much, you can't really say, oh, they have a 40% win rate, they're garbage, they're not win. You can't win with this army. I don't think that's fair to say, because they're still winning. 40% is still people winning with the list. It's not zero. It's just less people playing, so it's gonna be, less chance.
Yeah, none of those. Nothing from the win rate is from like even top tables. They're just Sisters exist, and I want them to be better.
They're not good. I'm not gonna say they're good right now. I'm just saying I don't take too much out of that. If you go by that, then balancing will always be like, it'll be like you're juggling 15 balls at once. It's going to be impossible to make everything, unified. You just can't do that. You disagree?
There's a lot of armies. It's hard to do.
It's impossible to make everything like everything's even right now, and nobody's better than anybody else.
You don't want that either because that's also boring. Like StarCraft's always the best example for it, where it's asymmetric. So if everything was perfectly balanced, it becomes a numbers game. But if there's a little bit of imbalance, metas form.
Yeah, even MOBAs, you can see MOBAs do the same thing. Like, when something's a little too overtuned.
I don't want everyone to be 50% in Warhammer, because then it gets boring.
No. Yeah, we're not. This is not a race. We're not. It's not Formula One. You don't have to be all in the same car. Some people could have better armies. It doesn't mean you're gonna lose just because. Let's say you have an army with a 56% win rate, and I'm playing an army with a 38% win rate. Does that mean I lost the game before it started?
No, never.
No, exactly. So there's a lot of things that come into play, and like you've noticed, the more you've played competitive now, because you've got into it to competitive, like recently speaking, you haven't been playing as long as some of us, but you see that what's the biggest factor in the game?
Deployment,
skill level,
and
skill level is the biggest thing. So like you can look at armies; they'll give you an advantage. One army I will say it didn't matter if you were new or old in the game. Space Clowns. When they got launched in what was it? Was that
9th
beginning
edition
of 9? That was the most broken. That was like I could give that army to somebody on the street and tell them the rules, and they would win the game. They were so undercosted. You could just literally take so many overpowered units because they were so undercosted. Even when they nerfed the living shit out of them, they had to get nerfed twice. Remember, in points, because they were still good.
Oh, more than twice.
Too good. Yeah.
And some of the nerfs were huge.
Thing. Yeah. So stuff like that, yeah, absolutely. You can tell right away. It's like, okay, I can't compete with that. Like, you can't win against that. It's impossible. And that's the difference between like, and yeah, nerf that right away. On to the next one. So Anthony says sisters are not good anymore. Don't use them. And
it's
that's
more
what Anthony says.
They received a buff and it wasn't enough to even do anything.
Yeah. Mission pack, the new one.
There's a new mission pack coming out. Finally. How long did it take? Yeah. Well, a year. And they didn't call it Return to what is it, Octarius? But it's a fact. I'm gonna just call it Return to Octarius because they just called it chapter approved. And did you read the article about it?
No.
No?
What?
Basically, secret missions are gone.
Good.
Yeah, secret missions are gone. There is a new thing coming out, which I haven't seen it yet. I don't want to judge it too harshly because it has not come out yet. We haven't read all the cards. But if you're behind by 6 or more points, you can choose to get like I just called it a catch-up mechanic. I forget what they called it. You get to either get a pretty easy to do secondary or a powerful stratagem for free.
Already hate it.
Oh, you already hate it? Yeah. It's like, do this pretty easy thing to do and get, what is it, 3 VP or 6 VP or something? Secondaries, I think.
Yeah.
And then, or instead, choose to use a 0 CP stratagem. I think it was reroll hits and wound rolls of 1 against the target.
So dumb.
And I'm just like...
Sorry, I didn't know that. I'm really against that. For
challenge cards, play. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like an underdog rule from Age of Sigmar. Exactly. I call it a catch-up mechanic. It's
for fun play, absolutely.
This isn't the mission pack. This is competitive.
No, for competitive, get that out of it. I think it's honestly, I think from Leviathan onto this point, like WTC and competitive tournaments should start saying no more secret mission bullshit. Like whatever that part of the game is not in it. It's for fun play.
Yeah. What I think about it is just. I get it. It's not fun to lose by a large amount. I think they've seen the amount of times where people are going second.
You said 6 points.
I think it's 6 or more.
6
is
or
it
more
not
points
replaced?
down?
It's chapter approved. So I believe it's the new mission pack that's coming out. It's coming with new deployments. It comes with new deployments that are just for 1,000 points. There's also 2,000 points deployments. Noctis? I don't know, from what I was reading and understood, it's just the new mission pack. Here's the new secondaries. Here's the new deployments. Here's the new secret missions are gone. Here's this. And I think they saw the amount of times people were going second. How many times are like, we're 50, like it's turn 5, it's 50-50, and then you just suddenly get 80 points. Like it's suddenly 85 to 50.
Well, like...
I think they just want to stop those gaps from happening and just close gaps. And keep games closer. But
I don't like that.
Now you're giving people almost a free way to catch up.
You're getting an advantage for being bad?
Just for being behind.
It's not right. Like so let me just give you
go to
an example.
Warhammer community, read this now.
What you're saying is in a basketball game, your team's down by 15 points in the fourth quarter. Now your 3-pointers count as 6-pointers. That's basically what you're telling me. That's basically what you're telling me. So how is that competitive in your mind? Wait, you guys suck. You know what? Your baskets count double. I don't like it. Here's an easy objective. Here's a free stratagem. Play the game, and everybody follows the rules. If you're down by a lot, then you're down by a lot. But I don't think you should be giving these like, do this one card and you get 30 free secondary points. Like, it's so dumb. For competitive, for fun games, for fun matches, it's hilarious. Absolutely keep that in. But for competitive, it has no place in competitive play.
Yeah,
I don't agree with it.
Here, I pulled them up. Your shooting phase. So the challenge is your shooting phase. It completes immediately if one unit from your army is not within your deployment zone and is wholly within 9 inches of one or more battlefield edges. Get 3 VP. It's basically containment for free. Or if you cannot do that for whatever reason, force a breach. Your movement phase. Until the end of the phase, each time your unit makes a normal or advanced move, it can move horizontally through models and terrain features. So you can go through walls for free on one unit.
Listen, I don't like it. I'm sorry. It's gonna make more feel bads happen.
Here, let me pop this up.
It's if like you're winning a game and an opponent's getting a buff because he's behind, and then that buff helps him win the game, it's a double feel bad. In my opinion, I don't want to win like that by getting a free. I'm going to use it, obviously. Who's not going to use it? And then I'm going to win the game because you were beating me, and I get to do some stuff that is OP, or I get some free stuff. I'm sorry, it's not fun, because at that point I feel like I cheated because I got free stuff, and then the opponent that actually deserved the position he was in and he put himself in, going to be like, what can I do? You that's what you get. That's the rules. Yeah. It's a double feel bad.
You can slightly sandbag as well to get it. I don't know why you would, because you're giving up 6 points to get 3 later on. But I don't know. It's just, especially if you want the powerful stratagems. One of them is, until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll and wound roll of 1. What happened to the less reroll edition?
Keep it in casual play. It's fun to do. I would play it for fun, like when we're just playing around at the studio and we're having a good time with our friends and we're at the cottage and we're all playing. Absolutely, like a nice swing around game, or especially when you're playing somebody that's not a competitive player and they can do fun things like that, like get 20 points or do something really fun and get a bunch of points and getting to do like go through the walls against you. That's great. But against a really high tuned opponent who's like, a competitive player, you're giving him like, here you go, here's points. Yeah. Just because he's down by 6 points, just because he's down 6 more points than you. That's
I don't want the pity.
If it was like 30,
like if you were I said I wasn't going to judge it too much.
Go ahead.
Like I didn't want to judge it too much because the secondaries aren't out. For all we know, the secondary missions might be better or worse than right now. The deployments or the missions, it might not be as bad as it seems. But just the way they presented it right now, I really, really don't like it.
I don't like it. And not in competitive. Sorry, that has no place in competitive, in my opinion. You're going to see a lot of people hating that. I just...
Imagine reroll hit rolls and wound rolls of 1s on some Rs. Imagine Custodes.
I'm really pissed that you told me that. I didn't know that was going to be a thing.
That's what's coming up. You should know about it.
That's worse than secret missions. God, man, that's way worse.
Secret missions were actually, I was completely fine with them. Secret missions were difficult to do, especially if you're losing to the point you need to use it.
I don't know about that, but
if you're losing to the point you need to use a secret mission, it's going to be hard for you to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I think all of that should be removed from competitive. It's too easy.
Are they trying to make it more casual? Yes, that's why we have these pamphlets that come out with the mission packs that you fold out, like Settlers of Catan or something.
I'm going to say it again. When 10th edition came out, GW does not know how to handle competitive play. They're trying to make everybody... Having fun is a big component to 40K, but if it's going to be a competitive match, keep everything on an even playing field. Don't start giving players freebies, because it's going to hand out feel bads in both directions. Yeah. If you win by a secret mission, even now, if I win by a secret mission, I'm going to be laughing, but at the same time I'm going to be like, that's a joke. And then your opponent's like, whatever, you win, go ahead. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. Just win by playing the game. And like chess, do you want me to give you because you only have 4 models left, your queen can freaking
You get a free queen or
do a
something.
spin. You get a spin to win. Like, you know what I mean? Like you get two queens.
You do draw
It's
randomly
dumb.
the challenge card, so you don't know what you're gonna get.
That's fine. That's at least a little bit more fair, but
It's just
still dumb.
I get it with what Azuth is saying, where this is a
40K
competitive version.
Monopoly.
It's just we don't want to get it to 40 like Magic the Gathering level of like competitiveness where it's very not that fun. But at the same time, we had casual play, competitive play, and narrative play before. Now it's just competitive and Crusade, right? We had cards in casual play. I have them here. It's the Maelstrom of War, basically how the game is now. But if you wanted fun randomness in casual play, Maelstrom of War was there, and then you could go on the side and play competitive. They split the communities, not split, but they had 2 different spots for you to go if you wanted to do casual or competitive. Now they're trying to merge them and combine them in this weird, like, grotesque combination.
I just think the more randomness you put into competitive play, the more it's going to be less competitive, and it's going to just be, I don't know, a shit show. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope that doesn't. Hopefully it gets banned in competitive play, like to use those
That's
cards, and it's just for casual.
Half the tournaments are owned by GW now.
It is what it is. Then you just gotta, if you don't like it, don't play it.
We could be overreacting because we have not played it yet. It's not out yet. It could be fine.
I just don't like the freebies.
It could be designed well.
Like the freebies.
It's just the way they present it. Present it better if you don't want us reacting like this.
All I'm hearing is if you're down, this is what I heard. You're down points in a game, you get free stuff.
It's also at the start of a battle round, not at the start of your command phase. So you can't like be going player 1, score 10 victory points from take and hold, and then your opponent just gets a free 3 points.
We'll see. We'll play it. I'll play it. I don't like the sound of it. That's all I can say.
Look how much time we went over, because especially when you heard of this, it's just like, what is this?
I don't like the sound of it. Like I said, for casual play, when we're playing for fun and we're drinking beers and having a good time, it's hilarious. On a competitive, when you've prepped for a tournament and you know what your army does and you're ready to go, and all of a sudden, you go to a game and then all of a sudden somebody can draw cards when they're down 6 points. And then you're going to have people, like really good players, probably kind of bait that, like, to get free stuff. But you're saying it's more random, so you're going to be drawing cards, so you might not want to do that. But I don't like it.
Imagine this scenario.
I have a bad feeling. I have a bad vibe with it.
Yeah, like I'm playing Combined Army. I don't have a way to go through walls with my vehicles. I'm behind 10 points, whatever, and you move blocked me so that I'm like parking lots. I can't get out. I draw this card where now my Dorn can just go through the building in the middle into the middle of the map and shoot you, when before he was blocked.
There you go.
And on a random draw, my Dorn's just out and could kill something.
Yep. But I mean, you're going to have to, I guess now, if that's an actual thing, you're going to have to put that into your playbook, knowing that that's a thing that might happen. So I don't like it. I don't like getting free stuff, as because you're down. That's
I don't want pity
more
points.
than anything. It's the pity points. It's like, oh, you guys, you're losing here. Let's help you win. It just doesn't feel good. It's like playing a video game and you're down, your team's down, and all of a sudden you get the one-shot gun. No matter where you hit the guy, he's going to be dead. Like, you can't do that.
The threshold of being 6 points as well is a little too low. I was playing my GTA 40K league game today. For most of the game, I was ahead by 10, 15 points. So he would have been getting 3 points. But guess what happened at the end of the game? He went second and he scored 20-something points at the end of the game and won by 10. If he had this on top, instead of being like 78 to 70 or whatever it was, it'd be 100 to 75. Just because he got a bunch of pity points throughout the game.
Yeah, I don't. I'll just say it right there. I haven't played it yet. I'm just going based off this is my first reaction to what I'm hearing. I don't like that idea of it. As far as the new
Mario Kart rules.
Kevin says Mario Kart rules. Exactly. That's literally Mario Kart rules. Like, you're way ahead, and then all of a sudden,
the better stuff you get.
You get the blue shell. It just, no matter what, it's gonna hit you. It's gotta make them catch up.
Imagine it's like I'm at a tournament. Hey, Nick Nanavati, here's a blue shell.
It's not fair. That's not fair. Sorry. If you're getting beat and you're getting beat, you're getting beat.
I don't like it.
There's one thing I do like, and it happened with our game a couple before we move on to the last subject. I know we're going long, but this is Rapid Ingress Live. We talk more and less about the timer, more about the content. Remember that mission that we did, and at the end I couldn't score it because I was not allowed to do action. I wasn't allowed to do it wasn't raise banners. It was what was it? Remember the one Diogo's like, I can't do the action because I went second?
Oh, Burden of Trust. Primary.
Burden of Trust, yeah. So the fifth turn, the player going second who has the advantage, people going second have the advantage in 40K. That's what the whole MO is right now. You can't do that. So I felt like it kind of leveled off primaries, even though I kind of still capped out. It stopped me from capping out primaries, actually, because I couldn't do the action on the objectives. What was it? It's just defend. That's what it was. Remember the defend action on the primaries? Yeah. So if you're going second, you can't do it. And I felt if it's something like that that's imprinted in the mission, I feel fine with that. Like player going second doesn't get to do the action on the last turn.
You know what? Totally since turn one,
that balances out,
and you still get to just run on and score.
Yeah, I like. That I like. But what you're talking about is exactly just you need help. You can't get good, so I'm going to make you good. And it's not fun because it's not even you're going to be going against really good players that don't need those advantages just because they're down 6 points. I'm guessing after turn 3. If you're down by more than 6, Anthony, I can't hear you.
It doesn't say. It just says start of the battle round. I don't think it's just turn 3. I haven't seen it yet. They didn't say it was just turn 3.
Oh, so it goes back and forth to whoever's down that turn?
Yes. It's like an underdog rule from Age of Sigmar.
Age of Sigmar plays much differently than 40K.
Yeah. Well, people keep joking that Age of Sigmar is the testing ground for 40K.
I mean, double rounds in AOS, double turns. I don't know. Let's play it. Let's see how much we actually hate it. That's all we can really say about it until we play it, right?
Exactly.
Moving on to the last subject.
If we were going to go this long on one subject, I should have put this one last. I didn't know you were going to react like that to it.
I didn't know I didn't know they were doing that. That really makes me mad.
That's another thing they announced at Adepticon, I think.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it. Sorry, GW.
Well, now I thought it was going to be a controversial ending. Let's go on a more calm topic. Wow, turns out orcs aren't actually that busted.
Orcs
you were
fine.
right.
What have I been saying all along?
In the streams I was watching, it literally just turned into if you play safe, the orcs have to come out eventually, and they're just infantry, and they're squishy.
Yep.
They do not have a good save. They have toughness, but they don't have a good save.
They're really good against MSU. They can only walk army-wide once. So everybody will get those bonuses, coming out of trucks and advancing and shooting, and charging and doing whatever they have to do. And yes, this was the arguments when I say arguments, whenever we talk about 40K, we don't really argue. It's just going back and forth. You were like, I was like, orcs are not that good. Like run the numbers on Ludas and they're good into infantry, but they're pretty useless after besides that anything else, right? Sustain hits too. Then you started running all the numbers and you're like, they're still really good and like they're winning all the tournaments. And it's like, dude, it's been 2 weeks. When people just understand how this army functions, they're done because they're glass cannons. Every single unit that's being taken there is a glass cannon. The one thing that's absurd to me from every single stat you pull up on it is the shock attack gun with the enhancements you can take.
And that's still very silly. That is
those are
very
broken.
Silly.
That I'll agree with. Those are stupid. Those are dumb. You should not be able to one-shot a Dorn with one model that's like 80 points or 70.
That's ridiculous. Like there are some single model stuff that can. It's not acceptable from a shock attack gun.
And then I haven't played Orks in a while, so that I was like asking Justin. You saw all our reaction. We just started laughing our asses off. Like I was like, I thought the range on it was like 30 inches, and he's like, dude, it's 60. I'm like, it's a 60-inch Melta that fucking.
But it's because orcs usually hit on 5s and don't have sustained. You were hitting on 4s with sustained hits and got like 3. You got like 6 extra hits into me.
And let me just say something, because we got Nick saying, "What about tank busters?" My tank busters didn't do anything against his tanks that game. It was all the shock attack gun. My 2 shock attack guns did all the damage.
Yep.
And are tank busters good? Yes, they're good. They hit on 5s.
Shock attack.
They hit on 5s going to 4s because they're +1 only into monsters and vehicles. Their strength, whatever they are, they're going to be wounding on big stuff. They're going to be wounding on 5s going to 4s because they get the +1 to wound against only monsters and vehicles. Against infantry, you're going to probably be wounding on 2s anyways, unless they're, T6 or something. But yes, they're good. It's 3 flat damage. You take the randomness away from the D6. I understand it's nice to have that flat damage. They're hitting on 5 still, going to 4s. But the range on those guns are 24 inches. If you keep yourself in a good position, imagine it like a lone up 24 inch. Okay. It's not that hard to stay away from tank busters. If tank busters were 48 inches, then I'd say everybody has a massive point that orcs are freaking beyond broken. 24-inch, I can stay out of very easily. And you saw the game that Adel and I played, that's exactly what he did. He made me move out of cover and go shoot his robots and his tanks because 24 inches. And yes, I control that. I came out of my vehicles. I control where I move. I understand that. But they're glass cannons. Ludas, I ran the numbers from the beginning. I'm like, I don't care what anybody says. Ludas are crap. Like, unless they're shooting into infantry, they're absolutely going to get dogpiled. And yeah, strength 8, AP -1, 2 damage is nice. Like the 2 damage is beautiful, especially when they're still hitting on 6s. You're only re-rolling everything if they're on an objective. Otherwise, you re-roll 1s. Sustain hits 2 is obviously great, but if you just stay off an objective, okay, they're only re-rolling 1s, hitting on 6s. There's not going to be enough damage there on an AP1. You're going to get cover by sneezing in 10th edition. You're going to get your 3-up save. You're going to be just fine. If you're Space Marines, let's just use them as the poster boys. You're going to lose 4 models maximum to a Luda squad. And if you're guard and they're wounding you on 2s, well, you're still getting wounded on 2s if you're Space Marines, but you're going to get cover bringing you to a 3-up, which means you're fine. I don't know. They're just not that good. And it proved in Adepticon. People waited. They didn't go in. They didn't let the tank busters just, blow everything up. And they're glass cannons. At that point, they blew their load. At that point, once you expose yourself as an orc player, you're done. That's it. Those guys are gone.
Let me ask this. Do you think Mordaka's better on WTC or GW?
WTC 100%, because you can hide. If you can't hide, you can't do this. You can sneak up on these tanks, right? And you can't do that in WTC. There's a firing lane from every single direction. And like I said, 24 inches. You got to drive those trucks up, get into cover, hopefully not get blown up. Then you move out, you do your WA. You don't have to do your WA, but it's nice to do your WA. And because you get, your advance and shoot. You get your assault, and you can basically move them anywhere you want. You get your 24-inch range. Your shock attack guns can see anything you need. And, of course, you're going to do damage. Orcs, they made orc shooting. This made orc shooting actually viable. Like, why the hell would you take orc shooting if it wasn't at least pretty good? Because their melee is amazing. So, of course, this is busted as like if you look at other orc shooting. But at the end of the day, it's not that broken because they can't even place top 10. Or what did they place? In a super major against good armies and against good players.
Do you want me to check on my phone?
Go ahead. I don't think they placed top 10. Maybe one in the top 10.
But during that, why not just stick it and move? Because you still have deep strike threats. You have to worry about deep strike, and you have to worry about if they have uppy downy especially. You can't wait till turn 3 to bait out the deep strike. Then you only have 2 turns to do anything. And if you wait, and then if they have uppy downy, you're waiting all game.
Honestly, I'll be very serious. I think Dreamer's list on GW terrain could be better shooting than Daka Daka.
On the Dread Mob with all that stuff, yeah, it's scary, especially because it's hard to hide from him.
And the range, remember the range, and like the amount of shots he can shoot out, and he basically sees everything in the middle. I think that's more scary than a 24-inch tank buster squad.
So Orcs got 6th. 6th, 9th, and 10th.
Okay, they're good. They're good. But that's not broken.
And
That's not
Magic
as broken
Donut
as
with
people were saying.
Bolgar knocked out the last Orc player. So the Daka list knocked out a lot of other players and then lost to the competent players. So it just came down to basically how you explained it, where once you knew what to do against them, the competent players knew what to do, they just folded.
Well, that's what these type of units, that's what these type of army, like how much gotcha happened in the first Orc tournaments?
Even they got top 3 and 2 super mages in the first week.
Exactly. How much of that was gotcha? Like how many times, like, did you know the shock attack gun did that?
And even if they explained it at the start, you're not going to remember it all until it happens to you.
Exactly. So, yes, they're good. They're good, but they're not. They don't need, like, what I was saying is make Luda's 120 points and make Tank Busters
some
go
more
up 50.
point increases.
Yeah, point increases, and that's it. Give their top units some point increases. They take less units. I think the biggest thing was they have too much other things they can do with that made them kind of overwhelming, especially that grot jail bullshit. That's
annoying.
You know,
the thing is, if you increase the points on it, it becomes useless outside of more Daka.
Well, it's 160 points for that. It's not exactly cheap.
You know what I think the nerf shit to be? Make it that you can't use that WOG stratagem on grots.
No.
That would fix it without increasing the points.
No, but you don't need to increase the points on that. I think just make the WA stratagem 2 CP.
I'd say just make it you can't use it on Gretchen.
That's fine. I mean, is that even matter? Like, who cares?
Because
it's still going to wrap you up in the first 2 turns.
But they're not going to have the 5-up invuln unless they WA for their whole army, which is a waste. It makes them much easier to kill.
So then you're saying WA can't be used on them, but then the normal WA can be used on them. It's like counteracting the stratagem.
Yeah, it's just the stratagem cannot be used on them.
I just think make it 2 CP. So it's just used a couple of times. If it's going to be used, it's going to be used once or twice instead of every turn.
That works too.
I don't know. It also won't be able to be used in the first turn. So they can't move 30 inches on you and lock up your army in the first turn. But again, you can screen them out, right? Get infiltration and just screen that bullcrap out. So at least screen out their 9-inch their 9-inch scout move, which is crazy. Yeah, I don't know. They're good. I'm gonna leave it as Orks are good. They're very good, but I don't think they're as broken as people were like saying. People were losing their minds that they were unbeatable, and it's like glass cannons. They have 3. Effectively, you need to kill 3 units in that army, and it's GG.
Yep.
You need to kill their 3 tank buster squads, and they're done. It's gone. They have nothing. Their Ludas are not going to do much on you.
Would you leave it as another 98% fine one? They just need some point changes.
I said don't touch the Orks double sustained. Leave it alone. Just give them a 2 CP for the Orc WA stratagem. Make that 2 CP and increase some points. Yes, so it reduces the size of what they're taking, and that's it. They're fine. Leave it at that. See what if they're like this right now, and you give them a point nerf, and then plus they're going to be losing that stratagem, which is their strongest strat, or one of the strongest strats at least. Yeah, I think they're going to go down a little bit. It's not going to be like crazy amount where they're going to like hate playing Daka. Because if you make it sustained 1, big deal. Like it's nothing. That's not Daka.
No
You're
longer
just a
Daka.
regular army. Everybody has sustained 1. There's nothing special about that.
To me, though, it's weird that it's easier to shoot and it's sustain hits 2, and it's harder to melee and that detachment sustain hits 1. But I get it. Orcs have better melee than shooting usually.
They're hitting, Ludas are hitting on 6s, and I don't care how many rerolls even if you reroll everything, which is 24 dice on the Ludas for the def guns, you're gonna get 7, 8, which is gonna turn into, like, I'm talking max, like spike, with a reroll everything, and that's only when you're on an objective. You're gonna get 8 shots at you. you're gonna get no. You're gonna get probably 6 sustained. So you're gonna get like 6 turning into what? 18?
18 in total.
18, and then you'll get 18 shots, which is amazing. Like normally you're gonna get 6 shots, right? But now they're gonna get 18 on you, and then it's AP1. You get cover. If you're like decent, if you have any decent armor, you're gonna like lose maybe 4 models, 5 models. My aspect warriors survived def guns, so and they're 5 up invuln. With an AP -1, you get a 4 up save. I was getting 4 up saves on my aspect warriors with no cover, like warp spiders. They survived because they're just. It's not gonna pump out that 18 is like on the high end, honestly. How many 6s are gonna come out of 24 dice?
On average, 4.
Okay, re-rolling everything 8 max.
Max, yeah.
So that's a lot of shots. It's only AP1. You should survive it, and then they're gone. They are gone after that. You put 1 unit into them, and they're gone. And that's my opinion. It's like orcs are a glass cannon. They need that because if they can't delete the unit they shoot at, they're definitely going to lose. And how many tanks did you lose to tank busters, Anthony?
It was they buffed the shock attack gun, and the shock attack gun did it.
Yeah, it's the scariest weapon. That's what Adol was going after, was the shock attack guns. But yeah, that's my opinion on orcs. They'll be fine. Just give them. They're gonna get a little nerf. They'll get a point nerf. If they tweak the detachment itself, I'd say at worst, the only thing they should do is get rid of the assault. Then don't give them the double buff. Then
I don't mind the assault just because you have to log to get it.
I know, but it's when it happens, it's really bad. They can move really far.
But then when you wall, the only thing you would get is 5 up invuln because they have advance and charge, but not advance and shoot. And it's +1 strength in melee.
That's true. You can't advance anymore, and then you turn into a melee army. So what's the point? Yeah, that makes sense. Just leave them alone. That's my opinion.
Points, just some points.
What do you think they're at? That's my point. That's my whole long spiel on them.
If they had like 2 less units on the field, I think they'd be fine.
Yeah. Yep. And that stratagem needs to go a little bit higher in points. But that's it.
It was a fun rapid ingress. I got to rant about Oath again and talk about sisters. I had my 2 little segments. Got to enjoy myself.
Sisters. Poor sisters.
And the mission pack. Mission pack was fun.
We're actually doing a Monday night matchup tomorrow. We're bringing them back. They're going to be very highly edited battle reports. We have a bunch of them already. We're going to it's going to go up a notch now. We're going to be doing like really high level battle reports for you guys. We have sisters playing the new sisters. We were just talking about them. Sisters are going to be playing the new demons. That might not go good for them. That might not go too well.
It'll be some suffering. But that's what it is with sisters, faith and sacrifice.
It is a thematic show, so it's not going to be all the bad stuff. But it's still going to be fun to do. No, I'm taking 1 Bloodthirster and Be'lakor because you have to. And then it's going to be a bunch of fun stuff. I'm even taking 3 units of Plague Bearers. 3 of them.
Wow, they're going to cross the board by turn 4. They'll get to the midpoint.
No, they're just going to... Did they lose sticky Plague Bearers now? They have something else now, right? I got to look at the new rules because Demons got a bunch of new rules.
I don't know what they did to them exactly.
Bringing that back, we're developing a game. We're doing some stuff with Play on Tabletop, right? We're going to talk to Play on Tabletop soon.
That's my favorite thing. I'm been so hyped about that.
It's in development. The stuff we're doing with there. That's about it. That's what's coming up. Tomorrow we're recording the Monday night matchup. Then Wednesday we have we're doing a live stream. Our next live stream, which is going to be. You want me to play Eldar or do you want me to play the new Demons?
I'd say Demons because you played a bit of Eldar.
Start a poll for the members. We should do a poll for the members because we were doing that. That's part of what they need to get involved into the Monday night. The live streams. Ask them what they want to see, either Eldar or Demons.
All right.
For tomorrow, for Wednesday. Then Thursday we have another matchup. Who's coming in?
Don't remember who's coming in.
It's the Grey Knights guy. I forgot his name. Nico?
Oh, Nikita.
Nikita, that's what it is.
He's nice. I like.
Nikita's coming in with his Grey Knights, so they're not getting any new models. Poor Grey Knights.
See you, Marcho.
Marcello's out. That's another rapid ingress. We got our schedule coming out for the week. Go check us out on Discord. It's free to join. If you're not part of it, there's a bunch of great people in there sharing things you paint. We talk about the hobby all the time. You can talk competitive. You can talk casual. You can talk to Anthony about guard.
Oh, please do.
Yes. And that's it. We'll see you guys Wednesday on the NKG Live Battle Report. Sisters of Battle. No, sorry. We're not doing that. No sisters. Anthony will mold.
I don't want to play sisters on a stream. They're not fun.
No sisters on the stream. We'll do demons unless the members decide other ways. And Anthony will pick an army to go against it. But we'll see you